Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. 15-year-old shot to dead in Manchester. Police are probing the shooting death of a 15-year-old boy following a robbery and home invasion in Turnatop District, South Manchester on Saturday night. The deceased has been identified as Vestor Sinclair, a student of New Forest High and a resident of Turnatop. A police report said about 10 p.m., Sinclair was asleep at home when a relative saw a man being robbed at gunpoint and ran into the house. The relative was reportedly chased by the gunmen. Police said a tussle ensued between the gunmen and the relative, which woke Sinclair from his sleep. Sinclair went to investigate and was shot to death by one of the gunmen. Educator Omar Robinson, who is aspiring to represent the People's National Party in the Alligator Pan Division, told reporters that residents are traumatized. "I must categorically state that our people are extremely pensive and traumatized by the space of events happening in our area. Every form of criminality is plaguing our space: robberies, rape, and now another murder. It cannot be business as usual. The powers that be need to implement ways to improve safety and security. We continue to call for more resources at the Alligator Pan Police Station. They still need more personnel and more units," he said. Popular sound system operator shot to dead in Trelawney. A popular sound system selector is dead and his female companion hospitalized after gunmen attacked them in Freemanstown, Trelawney, Saturday night. Their attacker was reportedly waiting for them outside their house. The deceased has been identified as Lauren DJ Lasker Fortello. The police corporate communications unit confirmed the incident on Sunday morning. Reports are that Laurent and his girlfriend were about to enter their house at 10:25 p.m. and our man shot at them from behind. Fortello died on the spot. His girlfriend was taken to hospital where she was treated. She remains hospitalized. Man succumbs to injuries after Mandeville shooting incident. A man has succumbed to his injuries following Saturday's shooting incident at Josie Plaza in Mandeville. He has been identified as 49-year-old Ricardo Bennett, a fisherman of Old Harbour, St. Catherine. A police report said about 2:03 p.m., Bennett was standing outside a remittance outlet on the plaza when he was pounced on by a gunman who opened fire, hitting him. Bennett was taken to hospital by security personnel, where he was pronounced dead. Statistics from the Jamaica Constabulary Force show that up to June 26, Manchester recorded 20 murders compared to 13 for the corresponding period last year. Man's body riddled with bullets after gunmen scale wall. A 50-year-old construction worker was shot dead on Saturday night after gunmen made their way over a wall surrounding his house in Westmoreland and opened fire on him. He has been identified as Joseph Scott. The fatal shooting took place in Sterling Grange Hill in the parish. According to Police Corporate Communications Unit, about 8:50 p.m., residents heard what sounded like gunshots and alerted the police. When the lawmen arrived, Scott's bullet-riddled body was found in his house. The scene was processed and the body removed to the morgue. Investigations are ongoing. Prime Minister Andrew Holness paid visit to centenarian.
So good to meet you.
So good to meet you, Prime Minister.
We have reformed our social welfare program. We now have what is called a social pension. Where seniors 75 years and older get, some would say a small token from the government. And they are entitled to it even if they were not employed or were not contributing. Because we have taken the position that the vulnerable in our society, we have to protect them.
Yes.
And in this very difficult time, with prices skyrocketing and the volatility in the energy markets, it is the vulnerable who are not on any income at all, or on fixed income, retirement income, who are probably feeling it the worst.
The social pension, as Prime Minister said, is for our seniors, 75 years and over, who we know gave a lifetime service to Jamaica and the society. And persons who wish to access it can visit any one of the ministry's parish offices.
The beauty of it is that we're not passively waiting on persons to come and register. We have hired over 300 youngsters and deployed them all over the communities to actually find persons qualified, because we have allocated the resources for it, and we want to see the take-up increase, because that will increase the well-being of those who qualify for it. And it is an important part of the government's response to crisis, particularly as it relates to being able to just meet the basics like food. So P.S., this is part of the Ministry's acknowledgement of our seniors.
Of our seniors, yes, Prime Minister. And it's an annual event for us on Centenarian Day, where we try to recognize all the centenarians, all the persons, I should say, who have reached 100 and over. So today we're here, 105. Yes.
I disbelieve that.
I told her the same thing.
God is good.
God is good.
God is good. He keeps.
But it is important for our country to recognize our seniors, particularly those who have been so blessed to live past 100 years, a century, and who having attained 105. That in itself ought to be acknowledged. How did you fare during the pandemic?
We stayed at home. We got our vaccines and we stayed at home, but every Sunday we would go out to eat.
So what you have just said there is very important as well. So an important part of living long is being able to enjoy life. We're here today to celebrate you and to acknowledge your value to our society, and to use you as an example as to how we should take care of and honor our seniors. And so it is with great pleasure and a tremendous amount of pride that I, on behalf of the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, hand over this little token of our love and appreciation. I won't burden you with it, it's quite heavy.
I can see.
It's quite heavy. But it seems to have been, all the necessary items.
Wow.
Very nice. A pleasure.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Prime Minister.
Thank you.
It's so nice to meet you.
No, the pleasure is mine. And just do me a favor, just rub off some of the longevity.
Vaccine hesitancy made healthcare workers think COVID-19 battle was lost. Facing the blunt of it all, healthcare workers felt as though they were fighting a losing battle during the peak of the novel coronavirus pandemic when Jamaica began its vaccination program, and many people publicly opposed the vaccine, citing unscientific reasons. But as explained by Mitchell Miller-Archant, coordinator for the Medical Technology Services of National Laboratory Services, there were some local scientists who declared themselves as anti-vaxxers as well. Normally, to work in the lab, there are some vaccines that you must have, because yearly we would have our vaccine programs. So we ensure that our staff is fully immunized in order to work in the lab. But when we heard about the COVID-19 vaccine, believe it or not, within our group, we had, I believe, we still do, anti-vaxxers. And for me, that was an eye-opener. It is surprising that as scientists, they would want to listen to persons who are not scientists. Miller Archer told reporters and reported during the Newsweek exchange last week ahead of activities planned by the Health Ministry to mark Healthcare Workers Appreciation Month in July. Miller Archant added that generally, they still have a low take-up now in COVID-19 vaccine, which is a point of concern. We are still hoping and praying that people fully understand how vaccines work and get rid of the fear, she said, noting that concern also extended to team members. The lab and medical technologists are concerned. I find it pretty alarming because we know and we understand how vaccines work. We do know how to verify the efficacy of it. So to find out the people knowledgeable and know how these things work are saying that they are anti-vaxxers, it's very alarming. I just don't get it, she said. Speaking with a group of healthcare professionals at the James Hill Health Center in Clarendon on October 21 last year, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said healthcare workers have a duty to be examples and urged them to get vaccinated. I urge you, being on the front line, being almost directly exposed at the greatest risk of yourself, that you consider getting vaccinated, he said. Mayor Archard said she went on the first day vaccines were available to get hers and has since received the booster. And this I try to use each time to encourage them that I am here and I am leading from the front. There is nothing to be afraid of and we have to protect ourselves. She said there was a period when staff members started getting infected and there was worry about what would happen if each key members fell ill and had to be isolated. She said a part of the concern was how they would protect themselves to prevent infection so they could continue getting our test results to Jamaica. We're happy when we heard about the vaccine and some of us went and got ourselves vaccinated, she said. But while there was frustration from the general population and staff members, Mayor Archard went home to similar issues. Even within my family, I had that. When they wanted to get students back into the classrooms and children were able to be vaccinated, I had to have deep discussions with my 15-year-old son's father in order to get him vaccinated, she recalled. I had to get the information to my son himself for him to read and understand because his dad was adamant that he is not to take the vaccine and that it was a trick. It might sound a little bit harsh, but I did have to say to my son, remember now, he is not the scientist here, so you can't take information from him. I had to, she shared. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.